everyone. Welcome to the Socialpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Allison, better yet known as Absolutely Allie or whatever you call me. Thank you all for being here. This is our last episode of season 3. So this is episode 7. So we're moving right along. I'm super excited to bring this podcast back because it's been a while. But I always tell you all, if you all have people that you know that need to be on this podcast, definitely send them my way. I love to interview small business owners, women, specifically women of color, but all women, entrepreneurs, social media extraordinaires, and everything like that. I love to bring you all people that can help you with your business and build your brand. So if you have someone like that, definitely send them my way. I'll put all the information down below. Our guest today, I'm so excited. We met through another friend. I've known who she was for a while. And if you're local to Louisville, I know this podcast goes around the world because I have some family in Australia and they definitely listen to it too. You will know exactly who this person is. She is a local celebrity and probably a celebrity more than just locally. I've been waiting kind of to meet her and to talk to her, and I'm happy that you all get to, be in on this conversation. So I want to introduce Monica Hardin. Monica has been Miss Kentucky. She's been a news anchor. She's been a producer. She's been an MC. She's a philanthropist. She's been all the things. She's a mompreneur too, which I'm taking some tips from her because I'm about to drop this baby soon. So Monica, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to talk to you. Let us know a little bit about you.
Yeah, I think you summed it up for me in a nutshell, Allie. I love it. Thank you. Yay. And I love that. I appreciate that you invited me to be a part of your podcast. And I like being the caboose.
Oh, save the best for last.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So what a treat it is for me to be here. And, you really did help sum up, some of the big markers in my life and the stories of my life. And I'm just excited to continue this conversation with you and to see where you are, right? Because when we met, last year, I was doing a shoot with Kelly Dillman, who's my photographer. We're working on a brand shoot, and she said, "Monica, I have somebody you need to meet. No, Allie, you need to meet." So she connected the two of us. And you didn't have a baby in your belly then, but now you do.
I do.
What a gift it is, just to be in this space. And so much has happened since that time. And so, yeah, I appreciate you having me here today.
So tell us a little bit about you, how you got your start. I know a lot of people know from the beginning it was Miss Kentucky. Did you always want to be in a pageant? Were you in pageants before? Tell us a little bit about that journey in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember I was around 8 years old and I saw Debbie Turner crowned the second African-American Miss America. And I remember looking at her, getting the crown. I watched the whole competition that night and I felt like she looked like me. It was the first time I could identify with somebody on the stage that looked like me. And I remember telling my dad that night, like, when I grow up, I want to be Miss America. And he looked at me and did what I think is bananas now, because now I'm a parent. You have to watch what you tell these children. Mm-hmm. But he said, "Monica," he didn't discourage me. He was like, "You can be anything you want to be." And I remember like running out to tell my best friend, like, the next day, I'm going to be Miss America one day. And she thought that was funny. And she laughed and made fun of me. So that's when I learned, like, you can't tell everybody all your dreams, right? But I had that dream. And it's funny, studies show, and, that children, no matter what, they get their identity for who they want to be at third grade, around that age. And so I'm one of the lucky ones who was able to work towards that dream. So you think 8 years old. And when I was 19, I won Miss Kentucky and competed at Miss America when I was 20. So it was like a huge opportunity and a huge experience. And it was one of the defining moments up until this point in my life. And so, yeah, man, a lot of work. But let me tell you something. So there's more. I can go on and on. I said, oh my goodness, we don't have enough time. I'm a talker. But yeah. So you can let me know if you have any more questions about that. But
so how did that journey and that process? I love that you had this dream and then you actually carried it out, because a lot of people have these dreams and then things change and they don't necessarily carry it out, but you carried that on for another 10, 12 years. How did being Miss Kentucky shape you into who you are today and then get you to that next step? Because I know you went into journalism and things like that. So how did Miss Kentucky help you do that?
Yeah, really, it gave me an opportunity. And I want to say this. This is perfect. I love this question because, I'm a big picture person. And now I'm in this new space in life, in this great life transition. It's like I can see, I have the vision. I can make a bad vision board, set out all the goals, but it's everything that comes before that, right? That enables us to make it to achieve those goals. So when I look back, even at age 8, I wanted to model. And so my dad, and I will tell you, like, if I were to look at me from the outside and not know anything about me, I would assume my mom was probably like a Felicia Rashad looking type woman, like the Huxtables. That's what I would assume.
We all want that, right?
Exactly. But that wasn't like my reality. My mom was actually blind. So I was raised by a blind woman, no sight. And my dad was a janitor and had a janitorial service. And we didn't have a lot of money at the time. But again, my dad's like, you can be anything you want to be. And so how can we make this happen? So when I told him I wanted to model, I thought everybody went to work with their dad, because my dad was the one having to drive and do. I go work with him. And then he dropped me off at John Robert Powers in Jeffersonville, Indiana to do modeling class. And then, when I decided I wanted to do pageants at age 11, it was like, okay, we got to raise money for this. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody's going to give you money as sponsors. So let's sell barbecue. This is my dad's idea. He's an entrepreneur. We're going to sell barbecue and earn this money. And when I tell you, Allie, those barbecues, yes, helped shape me. Did I love doing the barbecues? No, but they enabled me to get there. Did I have the best of everything? No, but I had that grit. One of my mantras is grit, grace, gratitude. I had that grit and I had the hunger. And so as long as I could get there and show up, I knew I was going to take the crown in a way, you know what I mean? Because I had that hunger for it on the inside. And so what I will say is the work ethic, right? The how-to spirit, the can-do spirit that my parents gave me, especially my dad with his entrepreneurship. I'm grateful for that. And that really helped to shape me. And I'm realizing that helped to shape me when it came to looking for scholarships, competing in Miss Kentucky, deciding to finally step into the news arena. And now during this season of transition, after doing television news for 15 years, now in entrepreneurship, it's saying, no, Monica, you've done these things before. You apply the same principles, set the goal, work backwards, and you work hard and you build your team. And so, yeah, I know that was a lot.
No, you just dropped some knowledge on us. I love having people on that give everybody a little bit of tips, a little bit of tricks of what it takes to get to where they want to be. Now, somebody might not want to be a news anchor, but they may want to be a teacher, or they may want to own a business. But what you said can apply to everything. So I love that. So people, listen, she's dropping you some stuff. So you segued into journalism and being a news anchor. Did you always think about that's what you wanted to be? And how did you get there?
Yeah, that was one of the dreams too. I mean, I'm talking about a big dreamer, and I know you're a dreamer too. I know.
Yes.
So, who was the inspiration? Who was representing us at the time as a brown woman? It was Oprah Winfrey, and I loved the Oprah Winfrey show. And when I grew up, I was like, oh, I want to have a talk show. And I was able to work. I had a radio show, actually. And you talk about philanthropy. In high school at WLOU, I was doing a fundraising event for ECHO, the Exploited Children's Help Organization, in high school, because I realized, I can do something that's different. So I did it was like a talent show. I'm not certain of even how much money I raised, but I was going on WLOU to talk about the event, part of Community Connections with a man, God rest his soul, Paris Anderson. When I walked into the radio station, he's like, oh, hey, Monica. And there were 2 guys who are apparently my age. We were all in high school. And he said, you know what? You guys are all here. Why don't you all just do the show? And I'll step aside. This has been the story of my life. I don't know these guys, but this is me. I can fix, manage, control, hop in there. And so I talked to them, and it's like, okay, how do we want to do this? Let's do this. That became my show essentially for the next 2 years. And so I was able to host, produce, and interview people on the radio when I was in high school. And that led up to the time I was Miss Kentucky. And what a gift that was. And I don't know why that came out today. I can't remember. It needed to, you know what I mean? And so leading into television, though, it was known in Louisville, in our area. I would just put it out there. I want to be a news anchor. And actually, in my first pageant, Dawn G, she is a Louisville legend. She anchors still. She started out on radio. I mean, back in the day. And she's a main anchor. And Dawn was one of my judges in Miss Preteen Louisville when I was 11.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I said, Dawn, I want your job one day. And she was like, I bet you will. You know, this little 11-year-old. And she's become a peer and always been a helpful, gracious, always available mentor to me. And not everybody's like that. I know that from asking, right, for a conversation and experience. And what a gift that is. But I'll never forget, you know, just being open about wanting to be in news. And my news director called me when I was back in college after my Miss Kentucky year and said, Monica, his name was Mike Neely. He's still a news director. I think he's a general manager now. He moved away, but he said, Monica Hardin, I want to talk to you about your future at WLKY. And that's kind of how it rolled out. You know, my life, my whole story's been unconventional, but I didn't have to go and travel around the country to smaller markets. I was able to learn and grow and be nurtured here in my hometown and to be with my family that has always been so important to me and have been able to build an incredible life. And so it is such a gift, such a gift. 15 years in TV news, honey. Woo, what a run.
That's a blessing. What I just heard you say is take advantage of your opportunities. And so many people don't take advantage of those opportunities that are placed in their laps, that are put in front of them. You were in front of Dawn G for something else, but you took advantage of that opportunity and went up and talked to her. You came to the news station or the radio station for something else. Somebody was like, here you go, Monica. They pretty much gave you the plate and said, roll with it. And you took advantage of your opportunities. So if you take something away from what you just said, please, please, please listen to that, because a lot of us just say no, are too scared to do things.
Allie, well, and me too. And I'm literally getting cold chills because, I mean, for me too, right? Because it's like people will present all sorts of opportunities. I think of, you know, I've heard it said we can move and make decisions based out of fear or out of love. And I'm like, I have lived a lot of my life, if I'm honest, afraid. You know what I mean? Like just in all sorts of different ways. But it's true when I look and I'm like, oh, thank you for illuminating that for me, because you do have to be brave to say yes, to choose to do something, to say, oh, and not everything works out. I just had a conversation with somebody recently and I was like, oh, this could be a good partnership. And this was like, I'm working on a project and I'm like, I need help with this, you know, I need a sponsor, I need some help. And it just fell through. And it took me courage to be like, yeah, let's do this. And it just like flat. But what I know that it's okay, though. It's okay. Not everything's going to come through. Not everybody can genuinely own what they say at the time necessarily. If you are a person who's like, don't tell me because I'm going to call you.
But that's a good trait to have. Like if somebody, my husband who's from another country, he always says that people here say things they're going to do and then they don't do them. And he gets so frustrated with that because he used to believe everything that we say. And so I love that if somebody tells you something, that you're going to call them and ask them about them, not make them do it, but follow up with them at least.
Yes.
At least.
Yes. And then you know what I mean?
Right.
And the part where it's like the teeter-totter for me, even as, you know, a 42-year-old woman with children who's had all of these accomplishments, it is finding the courage to follow through and to say, okay, well, maybe this didn't work out, and to be okay. And I think that resilience, that same, it's so funny. This hunger that I have now is like coming back from when I was little, right? Because I'm just in a different space, you know?
Right.
Mortgage and have kids and, you know, and it's like, okay, I feel that hunger back again. And I'm like, okay, who are my people? Where are my people? Who are my clients? You know, maybe we have to pivot a little bit, the strategy. And I'm telling you what, like, what a gift it is to be able to learn and grow and to be aware of patterns, right? Of certain patterns.
Right. Love everything you say. I'm learning so much now. Being that Miss Kentucky, being that news anchor, doing that journalism, being on the radio, I know that has helped you segue into being an MC, being a philanthropist. Talk a little bit about that. What's your favorite organization? What's your favorite project that you've worked on with this? I feel like it's so important when you get to a certain place to give back, and you've done so much of that.
Yeah, well, that's really been the story of my life. That's why my parents, it's always like, you know, you give. We are here to serve. We're here to live with a purpose and to give back. And so giving has always been a part of my life, whether it's been through my faith community, I'm telling you, this is how I learned how to MC, truly. There's nothing better than being a kid. I mean, when everybody else in high school might be doing other things, other activities, Friday nights on the weekends. I mean, I was at these galas and at these events, hustling, learning to speak to people. Like I've always been a worker. I've always been working, grinding my whole life. But it gave me the opportunity to learn how to move a room, to learn how to read a room, to see how organizations operate, right, during events. And so that's now a lot of what I do. It's in consulting with nonprofits, right, to help them. Also in doing that, ask for them, because one thing I know about our great people with the nonprofits, they need money. And so rather than just even to MC, to do that ask, I thought about becoming an auctioneer, but I'm not really great with all the calculations in my brain live like that. But certainly to write a story, essentially what you're telling that night, you know, at an event, at a gala, and to ask for money on their behalf is one of my favorite things to be able to do. It's really cool. And just to see those paddles go up and the energy and as you can tell, I'm energetic, but the energy in the room, it's really, really powerful. And that's the gift of, you know, of having put in the time, right? Being on this journey of saying, you know what? All right, I'm going to sacrifice this right now, maybe something socially, so I can learn, so I can be in rooms. And after decades and decades, it's like, oh, now I can help. When I'm at an event, I'm like just looking and I'm noticing. And like in my brain, it's like I'm writing out that list to present to say, okay, where can we change things, pivot things? What do we do really, really great? And how can we make it better? So you are on your edge to really elevate your cause and to expand from there. And so, yeah, like giving back in a variety of ways, it's so important. So before I had children, I was doing a lot, a whole lot. And really, and I talk to my kids about this, as a mom now, I believe that, you know, my main place of service, it's at home first, right? Because a lot of times we can, and I'm guilty of this, spreading myself too thin. But the first place, and thank goodness for children, because they've helped me to like, they're my little mirrors. So to see all the parts of me, the good, the bad, the not so good.
Right.
Get ready for it.
I know. My husband and I talk about it.
Yeah, it's like, whoa. But now, you know, I see myself, you know, because they want to do these service projects. And this is the mama in me. I'm like, listen, we can do service projects all day long. But if we're nasty to the people in our home, if we see somebody in our home who needs something and we're not being of service to them, what does the stuff outside of our home matter? Service starts at home. And so it's just a different perspective. And I have to check myself too, right? Am I concerned about clients and doing? And sometimes, you know, I try to work mostly when my children aren't home, but sometimes it rolls over, but just being sensitive, right, to the needs of those around us and redefining service, right? It can be simply helping somebody. It can be a huge project.
Right.
There are forms, but it starts in the home and having a healthy home.
I agree. I always say that if my house is not right, not clean, not whatever, if everything's not right and it's my creative space, I don't feel creative. I don't feel creative at all. So I totally agree with you. And you said a lot of little nuggets that I want to touch on quickly is learning how to read the room. A lot of people don't know how to read the room, and you just go in and you do what you want, but you need to know who your audience is. And you need to know how to read the room. And you also need to learn how to communicate. Some things that they may or may not teach in school. You know, I've been out of school for a while, but communication, key. Reading the room and knowing who you're talking to and writing for the right time is key too. So thank you for those little nuggets. And I want people to make sure that they're getting that and listening to that.
And I will say too, Allie, I've been to so many events and it's like so hard for me, depending on, I might be emceeing, I might give an ask or whatever, but it's amazing. You know, you go to these fun events, especially like a gala, a live event, people are drinking, having a good time, and it is so loud. You have to be able to command the attention of the audience. That is a gift. That is not easy to do, but I know how to do that. And it's like, I have little, you know, you read it and then it's like, okay, you have ways you figure out how to get them to listen. And so one time, a friend reminded me of this the other day. This was like 2016, maybe, the heart ball, but nobody was listening, but they needed to listen because they needed to give in that moment. So for me, when I work with a client, I have a certain way I do an ask, and it's like, whether they do it or not, they want to execute it like that. But, these things are proven, these proven strategies. But if nobody's listening, you can't really ask for money, right? Because the whole point is for them to listen and then to show their paddle so we get get those numbers in. And she said, Monica, I cannot forget the time we are at the Marriott downtown, I think. The place is beautiful. It's dark. People are having a great time. And I started to sing, and you could hear a pin drop. It's like, listen, now is an important time. I need you to listen. And they did. And we raised a ton of money. And so just knowing, right, for the right setting, what do I need to do? How do I get my audience to listen when I'm speaking?
That I totally feel like that comes with practice, but you definitely, I feel like, have a gift with that. So it's awesome. You've touched on your children a couple of times. So you are a mompreneur. What tips can you give anybody about to have a baby, people that already have kids, as a mompreneur? And then what does a day look like for you with your business, with your kids? I know it's a lot.
Oh yeah, it is. Advice, follow your heart. That's number one, right? Follow your heart. When we have children, I share whatever I do. I'm passionate about it. And I share a lot of energy. Like, I'll do an event and I'll be like toast for 2 days just because of all the energy I feed off of and I'm pouring out. When it comes to being a mom, I've had to learn to be more balanced. I've had to learn to, when I'm out presenting, right, a big part of my job is presenting well, right? So you're going out, I want to provide, the perfect pitch or whatever it is for a client. When I'm at home, I can relax, right? So it's finding the balance of being comfortable with being who I am. And these kids see all the parts of me. They see the parts on the other side of the tapestry. When the event's over, right?
Right.
When that deal has closed, when the deal has not closed, they are there. And so it's like finding my happy place as a mom, like kind of having like our own little rituals and routines. And I don't do it perfectly, but I find that when I have like routines in place and when I'm consistent for them, then everything flows better. And so that would be my advice. Follow your heart. But you already know you're going to be such a great mom because for you to be creative, you have to have your home a certain way. And when you just have a new baby, it's going to be different unless you have a village who's there, right? Right. But as they age and in different stages, that flow is different. So just going with that flow and the hugs. I mean, I had to like cuddle with my 10-year-old the other day, and it was like, I maybe needed to do other things, but she needed me. And truthfully, I needed it too, Allie. And before she fell asleep. And it was so sweet. Oh. As I'm like, kind of loving on her, she like took her arm out of her blanket. We have the weighted blankets, and she just was like rubbing on my arm. And I'm like, this is the gift, right? Because when you have children, and I recognize it as a gift because not everybody gets to, but it's these moments. And I don't want to miss the moment. And that is the gift of mompreneurship, as you call it, right? Because I'm more present. I don't have to get up at dark 30 anymore to go in to do the show and worn out and exhausted. And that is the reason I have that hunger back, because I don't want to miss the moments with my kids. We had the flu 3 weeks ago. It was me and my girls camped out up in here. My friends were dropping off stuff on the porch. I don't want to miss these moments. So I will bust my butt and learn and grow and press. And I just closed a deal that was like a learning experience for me, the whole process. And it was hard. And I cried, and I'm calling my people to support and my helpers to help me navigate it. But it was worth it because it gives me more opportunity to be in the moment in my home, to do what I do. And then I can go out and share creatively for another event. So it's exciting.
Awesome. Being present with your kids, I feel like, is so important. You can have all this other stuff going on, but like you said, if it's not right at home with your kids and with you, all that other stuff doesn't matter. I know you need to get money to pay bills, but what's worth your time and your effort, that'll come. So I love what you just said about, take time to cuddle, take time to listen to them, and they keep you honest. I know kids keep you honest.
Woo! At different ages, like right now, I have a middle schooler I love it. Katie Harmon, who has the Virtuosa Society, she's Miss America the year I went and competed. She says, Monica, and I'd never heard this before. She said, motherhood is the great equalizer. And there's so many moments. I'm like, these hormones, I'm like, woo, honey, your kids don't care. My kids don't care about titles and who they don't know. It's like you could be Mariah Carey's kids don't know, Jennifer Lopez, they don't know, they don't care. Your mom to them.
Right.
It's a gift that, it makes us stronger. I really do feel those that we choose, it either take you out or make you stronger.
Right. I always tell my husband, I was like, I can't wait to the baby's go. It's a girl. I was like, she's going to slow you down, which you needed. And she's just going to make you be a little bit more present and in the moment at time, and which I love. And I'm sure he's so ready for that too.
Yeah. It'll be sweet to see them together. And I know you'll be able to share. I don't know how much you all, you'll figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. It changes you.
I'm ready. I've been waiting for this for years. So
I'm
not ready, but I'm ready. Like I'm going to be ready. I'm going to get ready.
It's like ready or not, here you go. And
it's serious. Like we have a C-section date and I'm like, oh, that's like, they give you, I was like, all right. At first I was like, I'm not ready for that. But then I was like, I'm glad that you gave it to me because that makes me have to get ready. Right. Yeah. So what's coming up next for Monica Hardin? Where can we see you at? What are you doing? What do we need to support and share?
Yeah. Okay. I love that question. Thank you. Where do you need support? I'm looking for more corporate it could be sponsorship, but partnerships, right? So if they're looking for, if any corporations are looking for voiceover, spokesperson work, teleprompter proficient, MC an event, that sort of thing. And so really the easiest way to see all of the services that I can provide and the company can provide is by going to my website, monicahardin.com, and all the social places. Now, I love, when I grow up, I want to be like you, this influencer life, which I do some work in the influencer space, but I'm talking about over 80,000, Ellie. I said, how does she do this? Listen, she'll tell you how. But in all the social spaces, Monica Hardin Official. So wherever you are on social, I'm there too, and you can check it out.
I'll definitely put all her information down below so you all can follow, you all can share, you all can support, and you don't have to be in Louisville, Kentucky, because I know she does stuff all over the United States. You're probably international, or you're about to be international. I know how you are, girl. Yes. Monica, thank you so much for being on here. Like, this is, I shouldn't say this, but this is probably my favorite interview that I've done on this podcast, because I feel like this is going to help so many people. And me being a woman of color, interviewing a woman of color to help other women of color and everybody out there. It's just a gift. It's just a gift. We have to support each other. We have to help each other. Thank you. Thank you. Any last words?
No, well, thank you so much. And I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to just see you as you pivot and evolve. And I'm like, hey, I just can't wait to watch this unfolding for you in motherhood in this social space, because I know it's been beautiful just to see your announcement and your sharing, and it means so much. And so, honey, I'm cheering you on too. And I'm so excited. And I appreciate you so much for having me here.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the Socialpreneur podcast. We truly, truly love that you're listening to us. Please share, please like, send me some people that need to be interviewed that you would want to see. So definitely give us a follow. Definitely give Monica a follow, and we'll definitely be back for season 4. There won't be as long as this. I'm going to have this baby, and then we'll be back. So thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure.